the work and the journey is so worth it, because what I've been able to find is like this true, like deep reverence for my life and my family and my job and the people that I come in contact with and the connections that I have. And I'm living a dream life. I've been able to come so far in my journey, and this is just the beginning. Like I have so much more left to do and so many more people that I want to impact and lives that I want to change. And you just got to start. You just got to start somewhere and just do a few things a day. Like even just like morning affirmations can shift your whole mindset for the rest of the day. Like look at yourself in the mirror. I am worthy. Like I am loved. Like you get to decide. Don't let anybody tell you how you feel about yourself. Like learning to love yourself was the best thing that ever happened to me. Hi guys, welcome to the Focus on the Good podcast. I am your host, Mackenna D, and this is my lovely husband, Jonathan Dugan. He's going to be interviewing me for the very first podcast, so you guys can get to know a little bit about my story and kind of what has led us to start this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just to open it up, who is this podcast for, and why did you decide to go into this next chapter of your life where you wanted to host a podcast?
Well, this podcast is really for anybody, but specifically targeting like women who are looking for a change in their life, mothers, women in business, kind of just anyone who is looking for tools and like practical ways to maybe get out of the funk that they're in, or like the stagnant story that they've kind of been telling themselves over and over again. And really it all started with me being on a spiritual awakening journey starting back in 2019 and kind of feeling really lost and uncomfortable in my own life and just kind of a victim to the world, and everything was happening to me, not for me. And I kind of just had this big awakening where I was able to start new practices and start new ways of living and really transform my life into one of passion and purpose and love and excitement and joy and true happiness. And I really just want to be able to help women find that same thing, you know, because it's tangible and you can actually do it. You just have to start. So I've always kind of felt called to the personal development space. So I just want to create a safe space for people to come and listen and follow along the journey. And I definitely don't claim to hold the key to self-actualization. Like I'm not perfect. I don't have it all figured out, but I am learning every day. And I would love to share my journey with you guys.
I love it. Yeah, and it's an endless journey. And I want to kind of rewind and ask, where did your journey start? Obviously, there's these breadcrumbs that we've all had since we were young that got us to this point. But specifically, you talk about this awakening that you did have to where you were living one way and then you saw yourself in this new light and said, I can no longer live this way, and started doing different habits and actions, and you started thinking differently. Like, where did that journey start? And kind of, go through that portion of your life where you did have this transformation and getting you to where you're at today.
So I wish I could say it was like some really special, like amazing experience that woke me up, but it was really just any other day at the gym. I was at a squat rack and I went down into my set kind of broken and lost and a victim to the world. And I made eye contact with myself in the mirror at the bottom of my set. And I rose up feeling empowered and excited and really feeling like I saw myself for the first time, and just knowing like I'm not settling for this pathetic existence I designed anymore, and I'm the only one to blame. Like every decision that I have made has led me to this place of feeling really disempowered and just really toxic. Mm-hmm. And I can't blame anybody else for that. So I took ownership of my life that day. And from that moment was a lot of really hard work. I picked up a meditation practice, learned to disassociate from my thoughts. That was one of the biggest things for me, is from that Eckhart Tolle book of You Are Not Your Thoughts. And I remember thinking like, wow, like you're telling me like everything that I'm thinking right now, I don't have to like claim ownership over that. Like I can just say like no and choose a new empowering thought to replace it. Like that was huge for me. I started journaling. I started doing yoga, which was really cool, moving my body and just trying anything and everything to become a different person. I had to start doing different things. And it was not an easy journey. It was a lot of looking at myself and, you know, taking responsibility for kind of the mindset that I had and where I was at, and completely radicalizing and changing who I was to my core. And it led me to a really cool space where I was able to find an amazing partner and become a mother, and then eventually open up Mackenna D Photography, which has been so fantastic for us. But my heart has always been in the personal development space, and just really feeling so called to be able to help other women change their life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, I'm fortunate that I get to see your journey up close. I get to see your interactions with other vendors, business owners, all the couples that you get to share their most intimate space and experience of them getting married night after night, and how you engage and interact with them. And you're constantly uplifting other people. You're constantly reminding them that, you know, they are worthy, they can do it, that it's, you know, there's this thing, you know, our son's name is Emerson, right? And it came from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And one of the stories that really spoke to me about him is that he spent some time on this farm with this very successful person. And he said, this is such an extraordinary person in my eyes, but now that I've been living in close proximity to them, I realize they're not so extraordinary, they're actually so ordinary. And if someone so extraordinary could be ordinary, isn't it also true that somebody so ordinary could be extraordinary? And I think that that's the story, and I think that's the lessons and the encouragement that we're trying to tell people, is that, you know, you do have to put in the work. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper in like really what that work means. But putting in that work, we are all capable of extraordinary and amazing things. We have blessings for our life that I think that if we tap into that power, we can all attain, and it gives us more purpose and more joy and passion and more light within the family and relationships and connection with our community and, you know, in the world, right? And if we can help other people like tap into that, that's amazing. So in that, in the work that you're doing, define what that means. Like, what does work mean? Because you said it was hard work. Tell us, like, what does hard work mean to you?
Well, I don't think it's like any specific practice. I kind of think that you can go through the hard work in your own way of like what you feel called to. For me, it was meditation, journaling, looking at old belief systems and rewriting a new story, or even looking at like my childhood and being a victim in a lot of spaces in my life and rewriting that story. So adopting a new belief system, because a lot of times I think that we take on belief systems from our parents or our random second grade teacher. And it's like, we don't even realize that we have taken these belief systems on so deeply that we don't even know what we think. Like, who says that you have to think that way? Like, your parents? Like, you get to choose how you feel about stuff. So that was a huge one for me, is just really unwriting the story and kind of rewriting a new one. And I did that through a lot of journaling and meditation. But I think you can do that in so many ways. Like, you can do that through your workouts, and you can do that through reading really cool audiobooks or listening to awesome podcasts, and then kind of like asking yourself those questions. But the work for me was letting go of the identity that I had taken on and was so protective over, and choosing a new reality for myself, choosing a new personality for myself. I mean, I'm night and day from who I was, 20-year-old Mackenna. Didn't really have any dreams or aspirations. And, she just would sit around and shit talk with her friends and didn't have hobbies. And I had to let go of that. And in that process, I had to let go of friendships and lifestyle choices and jobs and people, and to be able to really step into who I am now.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, with any type of awakening, and a lot of religions and Buddhism, the process of enlightenment, in Christianity, the concept of death and resurrection, this one way of living again. And then one of my favorite quotes, Confucius says, we each have two lives. The second one starts when we realize we have one. And so
that's a great one.
I love it. And that transition from, the old identity to the new identity, that is a lot of work to allow that version of yourself to die, to no longer exist, and stepping into your new identity. And you've already touched on some of the tools that you use, such as working out, listening to podcasts or audiobooks, because new information brings in new thought forms. New thought forms brings in new self-talk and stories, which brings in, new desired or inspired actions. New actions create new behaviors, and in that creates a whole new result, right? And so you also touched on, you did yoga. That's an internal spiritual practice that also moves the body. You talked about journaling. These are all amazing tools. I'm curious, how long did it really take for you from when you kind of surrendered and had this out-of-body experience and being like, oh shit, I no longer want to be this version, to starting to actually see tangible results of being like, oh dang, I'm no longer that version of Mackenna, and I'm starting to see clearly that this feels like I'm getting the results from all the changes and practices that you started to embody. How long did that take for you?
Quite a while. I would say I started getting immediate results and benefits of choosing to wake up every day and be happy, choosing to wake up and move my body, choosing to consume good things that are making me feel good, and new awesome books and really great teachers, and being a kind of a sponge to that awakening world. But it took a while to really kind of shift completely into this new person. I would say a few years, if I'm being honest, which isn't we all want some stuff right away, right? It sucks to be oh, it took a few years of me really adopting these new belief systems and then working on myself to become truly this person. But it's worth it. The work and the journey is so worth it, because what I've been able to find is this true deep reverence for my life and my family and my job and the people that I come in contact with and the connections that I have. And I'm living a dream life. I've been able to come so far in my journey, and this is just the beginning. I have so much more left to do, and so many more people that I want to impact and lives that I want to change. And so don't let that discourage you that it takes a few years. You just got to start. You just got to start somewhere and just do a few things a day. Even just morning affirmations can shift your whole mindset for the rest of the day. Look at yourself in the mirror. I am worthy. I am loved. You get to decide. Don't let anybody tell you how you feel about yourself. Learning to love yourself was the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah. And I feel that was actually when things really started to click into place, is when I actually came to an acceptance of everything that's happened in my past. I've kind of forgiven myself for all that's gone down, and forgiven all the people who were involved and all the things. And we all have stories, right? We all have trauma, whether it's in, childhood trauma or with friendships or just things that you went through as a teenager. We all have trauma. Being able to release that and just be shit, man, I did the best I could. I love myself. They did the best they could. I love them. I forgive them. And then move forward. That was when it really started to shift, is when I really learned to be I'm so proud of who I am.
Yeah. And I think that there's something really important to like really hear, and I want to highlight it, not only is what is a couple years in a lifetime of a transformation of joy and happiness and love, right? Self-worth, purpose, passion. Like, okay, you dedicate and invest 5 years, let's say, or maybe even 10 years, and then you have 40 years, 50 years left to live. Isn't that such an incredible investment, rather than living day in and day out the same life that you might not be proud of, the life that maybe you feel like a prisoner in your own job or in your own relationship or whatever, in your own body sometimes, right? And so that leads to, like, when you talk about affirmations, I remember when I first started on my journey, my journey started really 10 years ago this next month, that my best friend since I was 7 years old, he passed away, and it was overnight, just disappeared. In that changed everything about my whole entire existence. The way that I was brought up in a conservative Christian home, to the way that I saw myself and my purpose and passion in the world, and the way that I wanted to start speaking to myself and other people. And when we talk about affirmations, I think that people are like, well, it feels like I'm lying to myself. I don't know if I'm going to be honest, if I really love myself. I'm going to say that I don't know if I'm really worthy. Am I? Like, I've been making all these decisions, and like, I'm not good at anything. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my purpose is. So tell me, like, what is the power of affirmations? Like, why should people do that if they feel like they're lying to themselves? Is it still going to benefit them, or what's your outlook on that?
I think when I first started affirmations, it was more of like, I was trying to convince myself of these things, and the energy behind it was kind of like resistant, like, oh, do I really think that? I don't know. Like, am I worthy? But I think the more that I continued to do it and build that kind of bond and relationship with myself, my energy and my emotions started to kind of get on board. And as I said, I was doing a lot of work to learn to love myself. So like every day it got easier and easier to be like, yeah, I am worthy. Like I am deserving. Like, there's so many wonderful things in this world, and I was born to come and to live out my dreams and be an amazing person and do awesome stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am deserving of that. And so I think once my emotions kind of got on board after like a lot of repetition and practice, like then it started to like feel good, Yeah. So I think just getting out of your own way and just starting. I think that's with anything when it comes to personal development, is like, you just got to get out of your own way. Like, just do it, and the results will start to happen, and then you'll feel kind of more in alignment with it, and then it'll get easier and easier, and then it's just second nature. Like, rewiring my thoughts was kind of the same thing. Like, we have how many thoughts a day?
Like 30,000, 50,000
a ridiculous number of thoughts, and a lot of them are the same repetitive thoughts over and over again.
95% of them are the same thoughts that we had yesterday, which is wild.
Right, and a lot of them are intrusive just in this world and in this society. A lot of them are like anxiety ridden, or just like kind of a little depressive, and it's just
news and the world and social media tells you how you should be thinking and feeling about yourself based on whatever you're doing in your life.
Right. So being able to, like, when it comes up for you, like, stop it in its tracks and be like, I don't resonate with that anymore, and then think a new thought, and like slowly your brain will start to think those new thoughts, not the old ones. So it's a process. All of it's a practice. Yeah.
I remember a practice that we used to do. We used to meditate a lot when we first got together. And that's something how we like really fell in love with each other, is that we were both diving into spirituality and self-reflection and self-awareness and becoming conscious of, our thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors, all these things. And one of the things that I remember that we would do is talking about affirmations is, what would it feel like if I believe this about myself? And you enter in whatever blank you want to believe about yourself, whether it's, that you want to love yourself, or that you're proud of the life that you're living, or feeling worthy, and really closing your eyes, meditating in it, and feeling that. And I remember that was something that we would do is, when you're doing affirmations, like, if you really closed your eyes and said, what if I really believed this about myself? and feel it in your body. Like that's doing that over and over again was something that was really transformational as well.
Yeah.
So, my next question is, there's probably a lot of people actually that don't really know what you do for a living and how you got here. You are an elopement photographer and wedding photographer here in Las Vegas, the wedding capital of the world. 300 weddings a day here, over 10,000 weddings a month in this city. And you got here in a very unique way. And so for the individuals that don't know your story, how did you get here to become this wedding photographer in Vegas?
Well, I had always loved cameras. You can ask my parents, like I was just in front of the camera, behind the camera, always obsessed, loved them. And I had really wanted to kind of experiment with cameras really early on. And because of a million reasons, I didn't end up getting a camera when I was younger. And so I remember coming into high school and a few of my girlfriends had cameras and they were starting to experiment with them, and I'd model for them, and they would, get a bunch of girls together and they were constantly playing with their cameras. And I remember just, desperately wanting one myself, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. So as like a young teenage girl, I had adopted a belief system that it was too late for me. Like, I don't have a camera in high school. I can't pick up a camera, like even at like 19, when, 18, 19, when I graduate, like it's too late for me. Like crazy mindset. But it was so deeply ingrained in me that I actually even forgot that I liked cameras. Like I was always the kind of person who like would take a million pictures on my phone of all my friends. I was like the crazy camera lady. It's like a cat lady, but with lots of cats. And I totally forgot about it and moved on with my life. And when you and I got together, and then we had Emerson, that was our first. I have a stepson as well. His name's Grayson, and he was our first. And then Emerson was the first one that we had together. And when I was out of like kind of coming into postpartum right after I had him, I was feeling really lost, a little kind of confused about what my purpose is. I had always known I wanted to be a mom, and now I was a mom, and now what? I was kind of just like, okay, what else? Like, I've gotten everything I want. I have a beautiful relationship with my partner. I have a beautiful family, our 2 boys, and I want more. And I remember there's a lot of guilt that came with that, because I was like, shouldn't this be enough for me? Like, why am I feeling so like lost and like needing something else? So I was about 5 months postpartum, and I just had this random idea just pop in my head. And it was like, you should go buy that camera that you always wanted. And I was like electrified by it. Like, I remember literally having goosebumps and just feeling like, whoa, like a camera, like forgot all about cameras, And I call you, and you were fully supporting us at the time. I was, focusing on being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go buy a $5,000 camera. And you, being the eternal optimist and always supporting me in my dreams, said, okay, like, go for it. So I threw Emerson in the car, and we ran to Best Buy, and I charged $5,000 to a credit card and bought the top of the line camera that I could buy. And immediately just started like telling all of my friends, like, please model for me. Let me take you out. Like, I just want to like start getting my feet wet, build a portfolio. And I had no expectations of what getting a camera was going to do for me and our life. But it was just something that I knew I wanted to try, and I had to try it. And no expectations on like creating a business or making money off of it. It was literally just like, this is something I've always wanted to do. I'm going to do it. And I just loved it. I was hooked immediately. I was so excited. It's something I always say is like, it pulled me out of bed in the morning and it kept me up at night. And that was when I knew I had found my thing, because I had never felt so excited and passion-filled and purpose-driven about something. So that year, I just continued to shoot all my friends for free. I started making a little bit of money like here and there, kind of building my Instagram and kind of my presence on social media. And when I shot couples, I felt the most excited. So I started to kind of say, hey, like, I wonder if I would be interested in, shooting elopements and weddings, specifically elopements. I love the big weddings, but I really love the intimacy of elopements. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. But no one would hire me to do it. So I was like, okay, well, how am I going to get my feet wet with this or try it if no one will hire me to do it? So I was like, all right, I have an idea. How about I fake it? So I bought a $30 dress on Amazon. I had a friend who likes to play with flowers make me a bouquet. And I asked my already married friends to model for me. And growing up in Vegas, I never really went downtown. It's kind of like a thing. Like if you live in Vegas, you don't really go down to the Strip unless there's people in town. So I didn't really know my way around downtown, but I was like, let's just go. We're going to try it out and see kind of like what we find down there. So I brought them down there and you followed me. You came with me. You came to get some BTS on the iPhone and I just kind of ran around and went to shoot my shot. And it was a blast. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And I was in my 7-day journey of post consistently on TikTok at this point because I was so resistant to it for so long. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it 30 days. I'll post 3 times a day because that's what the algorithm tells you need to do. And I was on day 7. So I run home after that night and I play with the photos and I'm so excited. So the next day I go on TikTok because I have to post 3 times a day. And I do a few BTS clips and like 5 edited photos to the beat at the end. And I put on the text of the video, point of view, you elope in Vegas, and I'm your photographer. And then I posted it, and I set it down, and I walked away and went to make breakfast, not really thinking about it. And within 24 hours, it went like mega viral. And I went from shooting 0 weddings to shooting 7 that very same week. And it's been nonstop ever since. I've shot hundreds of weddings at this point. I've had so many amazing clients trust me with their special day, and it is the coolest job in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible story because not only did you have 7 weddings that week, but your whole entire year was booked up. And at this time, Emerson was still really young, still breastfeeding, still doing all these things. And I was at an office building, a hospitality company, still working as a food server in a steakhouse. And remembering that happened, it wasn't long until finally we made the decision of where do we put our eggs. And we decided to transition and focus all on the photography business. And not too long after that, which was real fun news, it wasn't the exact news that we really wanted in that moment in our life, building this incredible business, learning so much at this time. The day before we go to Napa Valley, what happened?
We find out we are expecting our 3rd baby.
Yes.
Yep.
And that kind of put a lot of unpredicted pressure on you because you just booked up the whole entire year of your first year in business.
Right.
In the midst of summer, now that you're pregnant, and you thought this year was supposed to be about business, and now all of a sudden, not only is it about business, but also you're growing a human being.
Yes.
So tell us about how you dealt with the challenges in that first year of business while also being pregnant.
Well, when all the inquiries started to come in, I was just like, yes, yes, yes to everything, right? Because I was so excited. And I told myself, I was like, this is the year I'm going to grind it out. I'm going to build my portfolio. I'm going to hustle. I'm just going to build this brand and learn along the way. And now when we found out we were pregnant, I was like, oh shit. Now I have to, I made all these expectations and these commitments to people for the whole year. I'm talking 5 to 6 elopements a week type of booked out, very much so. I was in over my head. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just so excited. I said yes to everything. And growing a child is no easy task. There's a lot of emotions that come along with it. Obviously, physical changes. It's just an experience. And while running my business running my first year in business and not know what I'm doing while growing a human was an experience, to say the least. It taught me so much. I had to learn at a rapid pace how to create boundaries, how to set myself up for success the following year, and just what it means to be a business owner, what it means to be a mom as a business owner. Like, just so many things unraveled in that first year of business. And it was the most challenging year of my life, for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of expand as well, because obviously this is, it's called Focus on the Good, and it talks about the challenges that we face in our lives and how to overcome them. I want to kind of also rewind and highlight something, because I know that there's a lot of women out there that are mothers and they want to start businesses, but they think that they can't do that because, you know, they have to be focusing on their children. And if they're not, then they're kind of being selfish. Like, there's so much self-talk, shame, and guilt that comes around being a mother or a father that are trying to also chase their dreams at the same time, especially mothers, because they're kind of the ones that are expected to be the one to be there and care and nurture their babies, right?
Right. Well, and it's like so deeply ingrained in us too. Like that, I mean, as much as like it's a societal pressure, it's also like this internal.
It's biological.
Right.
It's absolutely, 100%. So there's validity in these feelings that are coming up. But I want to highlight, you know, after having Emerson, like, before having Emerson, you're actually a yoga instructor. So in 2020, you took your yoga certification. You actually bought your ticket to go to India, and you're going to go do your training. And a month before you're supposed to leave, the world shut down.
World shut down. I couldn't go to India.
No, you couldn't. And so, you know, that's when we moved in together, and we fell in love, and we decided you still got your yoga certification. You were known as Miss Yoga at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And you were all about it. And I was your guinea pig, so I was doing yoga all the time with you as well. And so you went from deciding that you want to do yoga to having Emerson. And I remember that for some reason in your life at that point, you had no desire to do yoga at all. But after Emerson, you actually went into postpartum depression, and it is very common. But for the first time, and you don't take any type of medication. And if you do, absolutely, that's
there's
your
a time
choice.
And a place for Western medicine, always.
100%. But I remember our midwife said, hey, maybe it's time to take some antidepressants. And because you've been this way for a few months now, and it doesn't seem like you're coming out of it. And we were having challenges in that time as well. And my encouragement was just find something that makes you happy. And that was another one of those awakenings that I remember about you, when she said, you know, here, let me write you a prescription for antidepressants. You came home and said, something needs to change. And that is the week that you called me and said, I'm getting a camera. And so for the women out there that are new mothers, that want to work on business, don't know where to start, find their purpose or passion, how do you, in your personal experience, it's different for everyone, but what was your process in finding what you would call your purpose?
Well, I really do think that it's different for everyone, but I do believe that finding your purpose and passion, I believe that it's easiest to do when you kind of start on focusing on yourself and loving yourself, bettering yourself, working on your belief systems, working on your daily habits. Those types of things create change in your life so that you can kind of see the breadcrumbs more clearly as to what direction the universe might be pulling you in. So I don't really believe it's like one simple way, like you said. I think it can be a million things. It could be the birth of your daughter, radicalizing your life and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so called to birth work. Like, it could be, you know, having a really bad experience at a donut shop and being like, that donut sucked, dude. I could make a way better donut than that. Like, it's like, it could be anything, but it's being able to actualize and see it clearly. Like, those little voices in the back of your head get stronger and stronger when you work on it, when you are learning to connect with yourself better, you can hear yourself more clearly. Because I believe in so many ways I was being told and pulled towards cameras over and over and over again. I just wasn't listening. I didn't have that direct channel and this relationship with myself enough to be able to hear it.
Mm-hmm. And so for the new mom that is lost and uncertain about, they want to start a business at some point, and they might be facing postpartum depression, and they don't feel like they have the energy to get up and do the things that maybe they want to do. What's your advice to them into creating the first steps for themselves to start dabbling into things to hopefully help them find their passion and their purpose?
I think start small and start scared, mm-hmm. and do it anyways.
Yeah.
And I think it's all natural to care what people think, right? But you can learn to kind of quiet that voice and show up and stop worrying about what other people think of you. I know a big thing in business is we talk about like your friends, your family, they're not your clients. Mm-hmm. So stop caring what Joe Schmo in 7th grade who still follows you on Instagram thinks about your new little side business. Like who cares? Seriously, yeah. Who cares what he thinks? Like just go after it. And showing up authentically, showing up genuinely, being yourself, like learning who you are and then showing up that way, like building a connection with your audience, with your brand as like a personal brand. And it doesn't always have to be that way. Obviously, there's time and a place for personal brands. But for me, it works. It works to be able to show up as myself, because then my clients know who they're getting, they know what to expect, and especially because I'm a service-based, driven business. But if you put your heart into something, people feel that. Mm-hmm. And it's translatable into your sales and your success is just showing up. Showing up.
Absolutely. I love that. And, I think when I'm with you on the shoots, when I'm doing video or where I'm just assisting you in any way, one of the things that I really love is your authenticity with your clients. And you show up authentic in your social media presence and with everyone that you come in contact with. And I think that the world sometimes, when you talk about business or professionalism, that you have to be a certain way, that like it's put in this box. And so that's not how you've been successful within this business. It's truly your authenticity. And I think your authenticity comes from becoming more self-aware about yourself.
100%. 100%. I didn't know who I was before. So the work of loving myself and finding out who I am has allowed me to be authentic in my business, mm-hmm. because like I actually really like myself. Yeah. Like I'm proud of who I am. I enjoy my own company, which is a really awesome thing to say from, mm-hmm. 5-6 years ago. I didn't want to be alone because I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And it's not about being vain. It's about like truly just like accepting yourself as you are. It's like the most incredible thing in the world, because then you can like go out into the world and you're really not concerned with everything else that's going on, because like, you got your own back, mm-hmm. and that's powerful.
It is powerful. And so that's one of the things that, I encourage the listeners is that if you do feel lost or uncertain, or, you're facing postpartum, or you're in the middle of your own business journey right now and you're confused of what steps to take next, self-awareness is one of the biggest tools that you can absolutely have. And then after self-awareness, one of the things that becoming authentic and exploring the things that you like and don't like, and mm-hmm. you've tried it enough to get good at something, to be like, actually, I thought that I might like this, but I don't. There's this process that
that was yoga for me, and I want to like touch on that for a second, because I went all in like on yoga. I mm-hmm. became a teacher. I was teaching classes. I did kids yoga. I tried goat yoga. Mm-hmm. I did everything, and it was fun, but it never really like set my soul on fire in the way that photography does. So I experimented. I went down that route. I went full force into it. And then I came to a place where I was like, you know what? This actually isn't for me. It's not what I want to do. It's not what's like fulfilling my life. So I'm going to set it down. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't years wasted. It was years gained. Like I learned so much about myself through that process. And I learned so much about what doesn't work. So I have a more clear understanding of what might. And then I experimented. It was like trying on personalities. I'm like, this one fits, you know, a little too tight. This one's too snug. That one's cute, but like I wouldn't wear it every day, you know? And then it was like, I found one and I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
And I just went full force into that. So it does take a little bit of experimentation and trying things on for size.
Yeah. One of the other things I want to highlight about you that I think is amazing is your...
Do you love me?
I am obsessed with you.
Oh,
You're my favorite person in this world.
I love you too.
Yeah. And of course, my Nina.
Oh, yes. Are you right?
And our little boys.
Yeah.
No, family is the best.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky and blessed that you're my wife. Aww. So yes, I do love you
I
so
love
much.
You.
But you have this unbreakable faith and knowing that you are going to follow through and accomplish what you say that you're going to do. And in that, I know, being an entrepreneur, being someone who has done really hard things, being someone that went from one version of myself to the next version of myself, that there's doubts that come along the way and creep in. How do you embody this unshakable faith? Because you do, I know you deal with sometimes self-doubt or doubt about, you know, what the world looks like or, you know, what the next steps are at times, but the path is always revealed to you and you are confidently walking through that path. So help us understand, like, what do you do when self-doubt does come up and how do you transition into leaning into that faith?
Well, intrusive thoughts are definitely something I still struggle with. I think even as much work as I've done to like rewrite my thoughts, right, and conditioned belief systems, I still have things that come up where I'm just like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, whatever, you know, the sentence may be. But I really, in those moments, what has been huge for me is stopping the thought, taking a big deep breath, exhaling it all out, like through the mouth, like just get it out, get out that energy out, and then choose a new thought. And it sounds like so simple, but sometimes in moments it's very hard because you're overwhelmed with emotion or you're very just like, this is just not working, nothing's working. We want
to cling on to the story or the self-talk that validates the reason why we don't have to move forward. It's sometimes easier to just be like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Who am I to do that? I just won't. I'll just stop right here. I won't move forward through the fear, through the uncertainty. I don't have to. And that's a lot of the time, it's the killer of so many entrepreneurs and people in this world of actually taking their shot that might make them whatever quote unquote successful means to them.
Yeah. I really think, and I know I've already said this, you just have to get out of your own way. You are the only thing that's stopping you. And if you are I know all the excuses you have are valid. We all have excuses. We all have reasons why we're not doing something or we can't do something. But I promise you, your excuses are not serving you and you can find a way around them every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
That's good. So I encourage the listeners, what are the excuses that you're coming up with that you're fighting for that is holding you back from being that next version of yourself? And that means being the wife or husband that you want to be. That means being the mother or father that you want to be towards your children, or chasing after the dreams that you might have always had but haven't had enough courage to go for. What are the excuses that are stopping you from that? Write them down, and if you were the version that you want to be in that ideal situation, write those versions of yourself down as well to see just how that might feel for yourself.
Right. Yeah. Journaling through things and writing things down. They say that like when you actually write things down instead of just having the thoughts in your head, that you actually, there's like a 75% chance that you're actually going to make those things happen if you write them down. Yeah. So definitely journaling was a huge thing for me in moving through a lot of my belief systems.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about manifestations. It's one of those words that our world has twisted it in a way to make it sound super woo-woo and weird and stuff. But our life is manifested intentionally and deliberately by the way that we have talked about prior in the past, and now where we're at today. It's phenomenal the way that it's come in. You know, going viral on social media is one of those things that just changed everything. Tell us about like what manifestation means to you, and how do you actually create the life that you want? One thing that I will say that you've already talked about that, again, highlighting, is becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
And putting in the work, and having faith in the process.
Right.
Getting out of your own way.
Yeah. I think another thing that goes hand in hand with that is acting as if. So getting yourself in that vibration as if it's already happened. So a lot of people think like, oh, you can sit on your couch and manifest a Porsche. Like, no, you can't. Like, obviously, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You have to act as if you have the Porsche. So you got to start going to places where people with Porsches hang out. Like, this is just like a silly example, but like, you have to like actually start acting as if you own that Porsche. So for me, when I decided I wanted to be a wedding photographer, I started to act as if I was one. I got a client relations management system for all of my inquiries that were going to come in when like I didn't have any inquiries. I could have managed them on my DMs, like no problem. I had like just a few. And I was like, no, I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this CRM. So I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to pay whatever monthly fee it costs so that when the inquiries do flood in, there's a place to manage them and keep them organized and make sure that I can like follow through with all of them. And then I got my LLC. So I, again, invested in myself. Like if I'm going to be a wedding photographer, I'm going to need a legit business. So I went and got my LLC, and I also opened up a business bank account. And at that point, and got my business license too. And at that point I had no money coming in. So it was like opening up a business account is like kind of silly. And like the girl's like, oh, you have to have a certain amount of money in there if you don't want to pay fees on it. I'm like, that's fine. No problem. And I had no money coming in. So it was definitely like a reach, but I acted as if I was like I have to create all of the systems in place so that I'm telling the universe and the universe is seeing me, and we're all on the same page that this is happening. Like this is happening. We're all on the same page about it. And so when my business did take off, if I had not had that CRM, that client relations management system, and all those inquiries flooded in, there's no way I would have been able to actualize on all of those, because I wouldn't have been able, it would have swarmed my Gmail, and I would have been like, how do I do anything? Like, how do I do a contract and an invoice? I don't know what I'm doing, And then again, like the business bank account, it was like I had money to somewhere for it to flow to. So acting as if is a huge part of that manifestation, and really believing it. They say that emotion is energy in motion. So getting your energy and your emotion on board with what you want next for yourself. Because I was like, you couldn't convince me otherwise. I was like, I am going to be an elopement photographer here in Vegas. Yeah. And you remember, and I want to highlight this book because I tell everybody about it. Yeah. I was reading at the time, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. So she also has the You Are a Badass, which was one of the first books I had ever read in the personal development world. And I was working on my money mindset, like really hardcore in this time when I decided I wanted to be a wedding photographer. And I was writing down on like every single piece of paper I could find, like I'm going to make $120,000 in my first year in business. I wrote it when I was coloring with my kids. I wrote 120. I visualized 120. Like it was just something that was like, I was constantly bringing into my awareness and focusing on it. And I was able to do, make projected income of $120K in the first 3 months of my business. Yeah. Which is insane. Like, so fucking cool. Yeah. So fucking cool. Yeah. But it was because I like literally believed it. I didn't, it was, no one could convince me otherwise. It was happening for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, another way of saying acting as if is embodying the version of yourself that you wish to be. Yeah. And you were absolutely embodying that version. And I think that God brings opportunity to the prepared. And so when you prepare a path, prepare your way, prepare your journey, and you have all the things that you need to go on this path, God brings in that opportunity that might not look the way that you think, But if you are open and you continue to have the faith to walk forward in your path and journey, things will unfold in miraculous ways.
Yeah.
So much so that you might even call it a manifestation by getting in your first week of TikTok almost 1 million views on your first viral video that changed the direction and projection of your life and your family's life.
Yeah, for sure.
Another manifestation I want to talk about, which is super cool, is I wrote a book, right? Uncovering the Inner Hero. Wake up, own your life, and manifest your ultimate potential. I used to be a life coach and used to coach tons of people on their mindset and spirituality and how to create the life that they wanted. And so I wrote a whole book about this, right?
Yeah,
and
you did, baby.
It took me about a year to do. And I remember when I wrote it, you're like, I'm going to write a book. And I'm going to be a bestseller. And, and I was like, yeah, I know you are. I 100% know you are, absolutely. But we would joke about it and talk about it and stuff like that. And this is another thing that's so cool. We listen to Abraham Hicks and, it talks about getting in alignment with energy and law of attraction and these type of things, right? And so you've been doing work. You have been busting your ass. Not only that, you're still present with your family. You're a phenomenal mother. I am proud to be your husband in all the ways. And I'm so thankful for who you are in all of it. And so you're busy doing your business. A couple months back, you get someone reaches out to you and wants to highlight you in a book. And it's called Slaying Vegas, Stories of Powerful Women Leaving Their Mark. And it's curated by about 21, 22 different women, entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas that have done extraordinary things. And it's curated by Lee Clark, phenomenal entrepreneur. Pick up your copy. But Mackenna was chosen to be one of these 22 women, and she wrote one of the chapters in this book, and it's called Focus on the Good.
Yes, it is.
And it's all about the mindset that got you to this level of success in your life. And success to us is spiritual. It is connecting with family. It's having the freedom to travel whenever we want, do the things that we want, and having purpose to give back to the community and your clients and everything like that. That's success to us.
No, absolutely.
And in that, she wrote a chapter. She didn't have to think about it. She didn't have to curate an audience. She didn't have to do really much of anything. And she is now a best-selling author in Women in Business, #1 best-selling book last week. And that is another thing that I think is so amazing that is God has blessed our life with, that it is one of those instant manifestations, and you didn't do that much to receive it, but you're so worthy of it, and you knew that it was going to come to you. And so tell me a little bit about this process of being part of this book with all these other amazing women, and not only that, what it means to you, but even just the concept of manifesting being a best-selling author.
Yeah, I've always loved to write, so that was one thing that I've always been interested in. And I knew, like, when I started to learn a lot about myself, I was like, I think one day I'm going to be an author. Like, that's something I've kind of always toyed with. And so when Lee reached out to me and told me, I was one of the last people who was brought on board. So she had named all these wonderful women and was like, these are what all these people are doing. These are the people who are a part of the book. And this was like what she told me in the beginning of, like, before interviewing me and stuff. And I was like, whoa, how am I supposed to, like, level up to that? These women are amazing. And then, she learned a little bit about my story and kind of the mindset. That's why it's Focus on the Good. One, it's like a play on words with, like, I'm a wedding photographer. That's my background. But the Focus on the Good is like that. If you continue to align your energy with, like, the good things in your life, then you're going to attract more good things. So I just told her about my story and like kind of what I've shared with you during this interview of just how it all started for me, and the personal development work that I've done in my life is what I attribute my success to. And she was like, all right, you're on board. Like, we'd love to have you. And it was kind of surreal because I was like, oh my gosh. And then she was like, yeah, and it launches in like a month and a half. And I was like, well, shit. Okay. So, you know, and I sat down and wrote one day, and I wrote it in probably like 3 hours, just sat down and knocked it out and just wrote a little bit about my story. And I'm just truly honored to be featured amongst so many beautiful women in so many different niches in this town. And it just is a reminder that women are so awesome and we do such amazing, remarkable things. And I can't wait for all of the beautiful things to come in all of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about just how incredible women are. Not only, you know, that first year of business, you're pregnant, but your birthing journey that year was phenomenal as well. One of the most spiritual, incredible experiences that I've had in my life was our home birth with our daughter, Aria Rain. And tell me about why did you decide to want to do a home birth, and talk a little bit about that experience.
So when I got pregnant with Emerson, you had always been I've always been interested in like holistic things, but through our relationship and stuff, we kind of, you know, talked at length about Western medicine having a time and a place, and kind of just doing research instead of just being told what to eat, what vitamins to take, what medicine to take, actually going and doing the research yourself and then making a decision based on your own research. And not to discredit like doctors and their degrees and all the things, but it's like there's a lot of really beautiful free information out there that we can kind of learn a well-rounded approach and then kind of make our own decision on how we want to live our life to be healthy. So when I got pregnant, it was really important to both of us that I understand, you know, birth, labor, and what it means to be pregnant at, you know, a really good capacity so that I can make informed decisions around our experience. So when I got pregnant, I just immediately started diving into all the books I could. And it was very clear to me pretty early on that I knew I wanted to have a home birth. It was important to me to have kind of more of a primal experience, allow my body to kind of go through the waves. I really wanted an unmedicated experience. So about halfway through our journey with Emerson, we found out at our anatomy scan that he was breech, which means generally at this point in gestation, the baby's head is down, kind of preparing for, you know, to go through the birth canal. And he was sitting up high and his head was upright right in my like chest cavity.
Yeah, he was chilling. He was backwards. He was sitting down.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be upside down.
No, he didn't. It's so him too. That's so his personality.
Yes.
So it kind of immediately like put fear in my head. And I was just like, well, like, damn, I really hope like he flips. And it was still really early on. So we did everything we could to get him to flip. Like we did the weird, what's it with all the needles in your back?
Oh yeah, acupuncture,
incense on like my big toe or something. Yeah. Remember? And then we tried to do 3 different times with the midwives.
Yeah.
They tried to do the ECV, I think it's called, where they try to flip him like manually. Yeah. So they grab my belly and literally push him.
Yeah.
Don't recommend that. That is not that fun. And he did not like it either. He just went right back and they were like, you know, he's breech. It is what it is. He could flip at any time, but you know, at this point he's breech. So we talked about our options and they were like, you know, you can go to a hospital if you want to have a C-section. Otherwise, my midwives did feel comfortable allowing me to attempt an at-home delivery. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to let this change our birth plan. Like, I'd really still like to go the at-home route. But they encouraged us to go have a consultation with the with UMC because they were the one hospital in town that would allow me to attempt a vaginal breech delivery. So we went a week before we had Emerson and just met with the doctors and was like, hey, you know, this is just kind of like preemptive in case we need to transfer to a hospital. We would like to go, you know, try to have as much natural as possible, blah, 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 blah. Not really thinking anything of it because we're like, we're not going to the hospital, but let's just, you know, the midwives told us to do this. So we ended up going into labor. I went into labor on my birthday, my 27th birthday, and ended up having him the next day. But I got stuck. I dilated pretty fast, and then I got stuck at 7 centimeters for 7 hours. And my midwives were basically like saying that, you know, he's starting to have a little bit of a like rushed heartbeat essentially. Yeah. And that I'm kind of in a lot of distress and that I'm not able to, my body's not opening up because I'm not able to like relax.
And he had a squishy tushy is what they say.
Squishy tushy. Yeah. So they told me, okay, like it's probably time for you to transfer to the hospital. And at this point I had been in labor for like 18 hours and I was like, okay, take me to the hospital. Yeah. Because the midwife was like, you know, if you get the epidural, that could potentially give your body the relaxation it needs to finish dilating. So we go to the hospital, drive 20 minutes when I'm like in transition, which is the most intense part of labor. And we get there, they're immediately trying to rush me into a C-section. And I'm just like
shoving Q-tips in your nose because
mid-contraction
time it was the whole COVID thing, and they're just shoving things up your nose, telling you that they're scheduling you for a C-section. I'm parking the car, so all this is going on when I'm not there. Yes. And then I get there, and you're like, "Yep, let's do it."
At that point, I was so defeated. I was so defeated. I was like, "He's already breached everybody." Like all of the statistics and data shows, like a vaginal breech delivery is just not the norm. Like it's like
considered impossible and unsafe and all these things. And we had our doula there as well with us. And I came in the room and, she said, obviously I had to take control in that moment because you were in the middle of having a baby. It was intense, and you're ready just to have him out in the world and safe. And especially the way that these doctors were acting.
Using scare tactics.
And so our doula was just like, hey, ask them to check the heartbeat of the baby and of mama. And I asked that, and they said it's okay. And I said, okay, well, we talked 2 days ago, you and I and Mackenna, we all talked. You remember us. You said that we were able to attempt a vaginal delivery here at this hospital. That's why we're here right now. Yeah. This is exactly as planned. Last case scenario is the C-section.
Right.
And so she talked to the main doctor. He said, okay, I'll give you 1 hour to dilate, because they for sure didn't think that anything was going to happen.
Right. So they told me, they're like, okay, we'll give you the epidural and then you have an hour to finish dilating. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's not enough time. Like, that's not going to work. But like, we've exhausted all of our options. This is kind of our last, like, let's just do it. So I got the epidural. It only worked on half of my body. I remember feeling the other half. But they gave it to me. Within 20 minutes of the epidural, my body had finished dilating. It went from a 7 to a 10 almost immediately. So because it's not the norm, they were like, okay, we're going to, bring her to an operation table. So they brought me on this, in this cold room with bright lights, and there's 20 doctors in there. And they're like, they weren't expecting me to be able to actually
exactly
have
opposite
him.
Of no lights on, with home, nice music, very calm, serene setting with the humidifier on, and
my essential oils going, my birth candle going.
Completely opposite of what the plan was.
Right. Yeah. So they bring me into this room, this operation room, because they're not expecting me to be able to push him out, and think that they're going to have to cut me open and do a C-section. So I end up pushing, and I push him out in 4 pushes. Yeah. And every single doctor came up to me afterwards, and they're like, I've been in practice for X amount of times, 12 years, 20 years. I've never seen a vaginal breech delivery. Yeah. Like, thank you for letting me be in the room. Yeah. And
all the nurses.
Cool. Yeah. Can I have my baby now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole other story.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the process after that was, we won't go into detail, but caused Emerson to be in NICU for 4 days, and that was a very challenging.
So it was a really traumatic experience.
Absolutely,
it was. But
going into postpartum depression afterwards because of the way that it all turned out as well.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to
getting pregnant with Arya, and then having the most spiritual, redemptive, beautiful, insanely amazing home birth with our daughter. I went into labor at 1 a.m. and she was born by 6:55. So it was nice and easy, and had her right on the floor, and you grabbed her and pulled her up to my chest, and then Emerson and your mom were there. So they walked in the room, had just woke up right
when she was born, and we got in the bathtub, and
it was amazing. The home birth was exactly what I wanted, and was so redemptive and so healing. So healing for my life and for my motherhood journey.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That was a very at length.
But it's powerful.
Right. It is.
And I think within that is that it gives permission to women and men that are on this journey to be that supportive role for their wives or their spouse, but give women permission to have more autonomy over their own body and their own story and their birthing journey. We're huge advocates for that, and not always listening to what the world tells you what you need to do, but there's other options out there.
Yeah, there's something to be said about your intuition. A mother's intuition is pretty strong, and leaning into that and trusting that. They say that the average person does more research on buying a car than they do on pregnancy, labor, and birth. So like buying a car, people spend more time researching than like actually having babies and what that means and what your body's going through and all that stuff. And that wasn't an option for me. And I empower other women to, like break the chain.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a home birth. Like that's not what I'm trying to say, but like you should have an idea of what's going on with your body so that you can advocate for yourself and you're not just being told what to do.
Yeah.
Because your intuition is strong and it's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, since the beginning of time, women were able to have babies in this way, but
totally.
I also encourage the men to also take the time to educate yourselves, because you are the leader of your household and you are supposed to advocate for your unborn child and your spouse in times where they're not going to be able to advocate for yourself. And it is extremely intimidating sometimes going against what a doctor says. But if you educate yourself, because there's plenty of information out there, you will have the confidence to stand your ground and honor your family the best way that you can.
Yeah. Well, I would actually just like to take a second to highlight you, because not only in the birth space did you, were you a leader and you stood up for your family, but in every way you do that for us and for me, and you're the best partner, and you're so supportive of me and my journey and my dreams and everything that I want to chase after. And you're also the visionary behind a lot of the things. So a lot of what I've been able to do in my business is because you're like, hey, why don't we like go check that out over there? And I'm like, damn, I would have never thought of that. So this podcast being a really great example that thank you for, interviewing me for the first podcast, because this is really the foundation of where Focus on the Good came from. It's from me and you going through our own individual spiritual journeys and bringing those, truths and those alignments together and creating a really awesome life and a really awesome business. And there's so much more to come. So thank you for being a part of today, and thanks for being my husband.
It's a privilege and absolute honor, and it's my greatest journey of my life is being with you and our family. So,
thanks, baby.
We're almost to the end.
Okay.
What's next for you?
Quite a few things. So, Focus on the Good. This has been like something we've been thinking about and working on for a while. So I'm really excited about that. Becoming an author. Slaying Vegas. Order your copy on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
It is sold out at the moment.
Sold out.
But order your copy.
You can still order it. It'll come to you in a few weeks. And another really exciting thing that we're going to be doing is launching a new all-inclusive elopement company here in Las Vegas. So it's called All In Elopements. We're trying to kind of step into like this new untapped part of intimacy and like luxury side of all-inclusive elopements, and trying to give people like attention to design and like high quality experience, high quality vendors. So really trying to open up our horizons to more abundance and more awesome couples from all over the world, and kind of share what we've learned in the wedding industry and, being out there every day shooting elopements, to be able to like tailor the experience for them after so many years of understanding how it all works and who all the best people are. So I'm really excited for all the vendors that are involved and what's next to come for that experience. It's going to be really fun.
Absolutely. It's going to be truly storytelling. Through the day of the couple, that it's all done for them. It's going to be so easy and very intimate.
Right.
And so it's really cool. Very excited about that. And what is your favorite thing about being a mother?
Tribe. I think I always felt like an outsider, and that I didn't necessarily belong to any group or person. And now not only do I belong to myself, but I belong to other people, my family, my tribe, and having that really deep connection and like this knowing that like we're all in this life together. And it's really, really something. It's pretty special.
What's your favorite thing about being a wife?
Just
being married to this guy.
this guy. Definitely, I feel like it's, again, like tribe. It's like that. It's just knowing that, like, you and I are in this together. We're going to ride this wave, and that there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be challenges, but like, you and I have committed our lives to like being the best versions of ourselves and doing that internal work first, so that we can come together and kind of enjoy the fruits of our labor. So I appreciate you for always holding space for me when I'm trying to work through something, and vice versa. And that we're teammates.
Yeah.
And it's really great.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much again for letting me interview for the first podcast.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm so excited to see the future interviews that you do with the incredible women, men, and whoever else is sitting in this chair and being interviewed by you, and pulling out all the good that they do in the world, and encouraging all the other individuals out there that they have potential, that they have purpose, that they are wanted and desired and worthy of whatever life that they want to create for themselves. And I know that they'll get so many tools from this podcast. And so I know that because I get to see you every day develop and use these tools to expand our life and our purpose and our story. So I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Absolutely.
And thank you all so much for joining. Truly, it means the world for us, for you guys all to be here. We're really excited for what's to come. And if nobody's told you today, we love you. You're worthy, and you are welcome here.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see you next time.
A lot more good in the world than anything else if we focus on it. And so don't forget to subscribe, follow, and tune in next time.
Yeah.